Good morning, everybody. What a fantastic presentation, Mr. Jassim. I'd like to take you through another presentation. Thank you so much for being with me. We're going to talk about our purpose, the social ROI. I've asked you to bring a candle, lit it, so that you would enjoy the light and the warmth of the candle. I've got mine. And by the end of the presentation, you will know why I have asked you to bring that. I'd like to start with a story. I was a family counselor at a food bank. We would provide food for the families who could not afford food. If they had jobs, if they needed a job, we would help them find a job. If they needed their husbands or wives to get out of prison, we would help them with that. If they needed to get a better job, we would help them with that. Or sometimes they even had medical conditions that we would help them with. And this was a government-funded project. Sometimes I would even organize community affairs so that it would bring the community together. I was very surprised because one day I received a visit from the government representative, the very people who were funding my project. The gentleman came and very bluntly, he said to me, "We know that we're funding your project. Can you tell me what's the ROI of your project?" I said, "Excuse me, what?" He said, "What's the ROI of your project?" I said, "Could you please tell me what ROI stands for?" He looked at me as if I was not from this planet, and he said, "Return on investment. We're actually investing in your project. We want to know if you're trying and you can reduce the cost. Are you avoiding cost? Are you actually helping people to pay more tax and bring their revenue? We are having some problems with our budgets. We want to know what projects are working well so that we can do more of them, and we want to know what projects are not working so that we can cut them." I couldn't breathe. He left and he said that he will come back after a week. I still continued with my food bank, with my counseling session. I couldn't sleep that night. I went and I found out that there is actually a certification program, which I took. And I realized, oh my God, I was not giving and capturing the data that I needed to capture. I knew how many people came to the bank. I knew how many foods, parcels we served. I knew how much I cost the government, but I didn't know how people reacted to my project. I didn't know what people actually learned from what I was teaching them. I didn't know what they did after they went and they left me. And I had no clue if I reduced costs, I avoided costs, or I helped people pay more tax. Soon after, the gentleman came back and he said, "Have you managed to calculate your ROI?" I said, "I will. I know how to do it. I need a little bit more time. Can I have a month or two? Because I could go back to those people who I was actually helping." He said, "I'm sorry, we don't have time." They closed the center. That night, I did not sleep. It wasn't because I lost my job, because I could get another job. However, I was worried about those single mothers who came to me and they were looking for their food from us. It was all those people who were trying to battle drug addiction and they were relying on us. I was worried about them. I could not help them because I could not prove the value that I had. The reason I'm talking to you today is because I don't want you to feel the same as I did all those years before. So stay with me. During this hour, I would like to show you how you can show your value and how you can actually increase the impact that you're making on the community. Because if you do the measurement right, that's the best thing that you can do. At the end of today, I'd like you to take away 3 things. The first one is, whatever you do, Start with why. Keep the end in mind. Ask yourself, why am I doing a project? Why am I doing an initiative? Why do I want to print a brochure? Why are we holding this forum? Ask yourself why. Once you do that, then you can ask yourself, how do we do it? Once you identify that why, there are many ways, there are many hows to get you to what you offer the community. This is called the Golden Circle that was presented at a TED Talk by Simon Sinek. And I would urge you, don't spend money and time on initiatives that you have not identified the why, the mission behind your existence. So you start with why. There are two questions that you ask yourself. Is there a problem worth solving? Or is there an opportunity worth pursuing? If the answers to these two questions is no, please, please, please do not do anything. Don't waste your time, my time, somebody else's time. Save that money, save that time and those resources and spend it on other things that would add value. Let me give you an example. Mashallah, you are a huge organization with about 33 agencies. I bet you, because you are big, you have a lot of opportunities for collaboration, which is beautiful. At the same time, what are the drawbacks of a big organization? There could be opportunities for overlaps. What happens with overlaps? We waste time, we waste money, there could be conflicts, there could be frictions. So I go back to this. Is this a problem worth solving? You bet it is. Is this an opportunity worth pursuing? You bet it is. If you address this issue alone, you can reduce costs, you can avoid costs, you can even make more money by collaboration. And then you ask yourself, is there an opportunity for a positive return on investment, for ROI? Yes. You can actually convert your monetary benefits into benefits and calculate your ROI. You also ask yourself, what if we don't do anything? A lot of us don't do anything. It's the status quo that we're very comfortable being in. I urge you to look at this. Stay with me, I'm going to use this as an example. So the first one, start with why. Then you go and say, what are the business needs that you have? Is it time? Is it better quality? Is it better collaboration? Once you do that, then you come and ask yourself, what are the performance needs that we have? What are the things that people should be doing and they're not doing? What are the mandates that we should update and they need updating? What should people know? What are the skill sets that we need to give them in order to be able to do what they're not doing? And the preference needs is, how should people perceive this? I'll get back to this again. Because you need to touch people's hearts and minds. If you just send them on a class before telling them why, they will attend it because you've asked them and they're getting out of the office and they're getting paid. However, they come back and their behavior has not changed. So you're identifying the why, then you choose the right solution. I'm going to look at that overlap again. Excuse me. We said you have about 33 agencies. There is a lot of overlap. One objective, one smart objective would be to reduce the percentage of overlap by a certain amount of time. You go and you meet those leaders and you ask them, what are the reasons behind the overlaps? They tell you, well, nobody even communicated that there was any overlap. I didn't know. There is no job autonomy. Nobody is asking me if I'm doing the right thing or the wrong thing. If I do anything wrong, there is no supervision. I didn't know. So you ask them, they will list you. And people are always very quick to give you the things that they go wrong. At the same time, You can ask them, okay, we're also looking for solutions. Can you share with me, in your opinion, if we want to solve this problem, how can we solve it? Try and get those ideas from them as well. Do some proper root cause analysis. So they will tell you, okay, I need to be trained on a strategy. I need to be trained on leadership. Maybe we need to centralize our budgeting system, because if the money is coming from one source, then we know where the money is coming and where it's going. So that hopefully would avoid the overlaps. Or they may say, oh, run a beautiful forum like today and encourage positive interaction between people. So you identify the why, and then you go and see from these solutions, which ones there are more dots, there are more solutions provided to those problems. Then you prioritize. You cannot do everything. Your time, your money, your resources are limited. So you have to be wise and prudent on what you choose to do first. So you've done those things. The why, you chose the right solution. The third one, you come and choose the right KPIs. What does KPI stand for? Key Performance Indicators. You need to have a balance of soft and hard KPIs. Hard KPIs are the ones that you can quickly convert into a monetary value. Time. Time is money. Quality. If you make errors, you have to redo it. So those are the things that you need to put as hard KPIs. In your organizations, soft KPIs are very important. We just had a session with Mr. Jassim who talked about compassion. Compassion could be a soft KPI that you consider. What about your employee engagement? What about customer satisfaction, both internal and external? Those are the things that you need to consider. ROI, is it a soft or a hard KPI? Hard. It talks about money. So ROI is one KPI that you will consider among a bundle, a basket of KPIs that to measure your performance. I'm sure you've heard this 1,000 times. If you don't measure, you cannot manage. So you need to measure your performance. You need to measure your initiatives to know if you're actually having a positive impact. Don't be like me, who somebody knocked on my door too late and I could not prove my value. A very simple tool that will help you balance, put the reasons, the why you do it, your business needs and your training needs with the objectives that you have. Do you have to measure your ROI and impact all the time? You would hate me for this presentation if I say yes. But no, I want you to love me. No, you don't have to. However, the reaction of this session, at the end of the session, they're going to ask you, did I add any value? Did I give you any new information that you didn't have before? What was your perception of this session? It's measuring your reaction. Would you recommend me to other colleagues to hear, to listen to? Reaction is very easy, very cheap, very quick to measure. 90 to 100% of the times, you should be measuring the reaction of your initiatives. Then we go higher with learning. 40 to 60% of the time, you should measure and identify if people are actually learning what you're trying to teach them. Because if they don't know what to do, if I didn't know how to calculate ROI, how that gentleman expected me to measure it. I should have been taught. They should have told me. Those were all the questions that was in my mind for months and months and months. Now you know. Now it becomes your responsibility after this session to go to Riyadh and say, I need to know because I don't have that capacity and capability. Then you go higher. Once people know what to do, they must do it. They must actually apply and implement their learning. It's called application. Between 30% to 35% of the time, you should be able to measure the application of their learning. Once application takes place, impact is guaranteed. Why? Because impact is a consequence of application. Impact is the business level. Then you calculate all the costs that you've put in this forum, in any initiative that you do. You calculate all the monetary benefits that you've had. And it's a very simple calculation to give you the ROI of your project. Between 5 to 10% of the time, you should be measuring the return on investment. So if Her Highness is trusting you with her money, if His Highness is trusting you with his money, you need to know what you're doing with that money. Where is it going? What impact you're making? And can you reduce costs? Can you avoid costs? Can you generate some revenue for the community? I know this is a heavy slide. I'd like to take you back, repeat it once more with a story. With a hero who has made a lot of difference in my life, Hajar. I'm sure you've read her story and you've been told that maybe as a child. When Prophet Abraham was old, he could not have any children. He married Hajar. Hajar gave birth to Prophet Ismail. And unfortunately, Abraham's wife, Sarah, got jealous of Hajar and say, take them away, take them somewhere that I don't want to see them. So God gave an order to Abraham to take Hajar and their newborn baby to desert and leave them there. When they were in desert and Hajar could not see any other human beings, no life, and her husband is leaving her, she says to him, Abraham, where are you going? I'm left with my son. There is no water, there is no food. Where are you going? He doesn't look back, he doesn't say anything. She asks again, Abraham, where are you going? We have no food, no water to take us more than 2 days. He doesn't say anything. Then Hajar says, is that a mandate from Allah? He says, yes. She says, okay. If God has asked you to do this, I know that God will protect us. So her reaction to this, because she has faith, she says, He will protect us if He has ordered you to do this. Abraham leaves. They're using their food. She's looking around. She says, okay, I know desert. Desert is very harsh. It's hot. I'm going to run out of water. I'm going to run out of dates that I have, and I need to survive, and I need to protect my child. What does she do? Does she sit there and say, Allah will protect me? Or does she take actions? She starts moving. She goes from Safa to Marwa. She comes back. She goes back. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, 7 times. She goes from Safa to Marwa. Why? Because she wants to find water. Because she knows that God will protect them, but God wants her to take action, to implement and look after herself and her child. When she comes back for the 7th time, she sees that there is an angel standing next to her son, and there is water coming out of the earth. It's Zamzam. Once she has water, the birds come, and the caravans who are moving there, they will stop. I love what Hajar says to them. I give you water, you give me food. You stay, you give me shelter. What a fantastic businesswoman is there. Can you see the business impact? If she hadn't done that and she gave the food for free, the water would have gone and she wouldn't have built that water. From that, the give and take. What a beautiful ROI we have. The fact that they built Mecca, the fact that we go to that pilgrimages and we worship, that's where it came. So I'm going to give you some criteria how you choose the projects to measure at impact and ROI. First of all, identify how important your programs are. Then see, how long is it? Is it just for an hour? Maybe you just measure it at reaction. If you're doing something for a year, you're doing something for Rubul Qarn, you want to measure that. How much money you're spending on it. The more expensive it is, you better know the value you're bringing. Otherwise, it could be cut. What is the size of the audience that you're serving? The bigger the number of people you're serving, you should know the impact and ROI that you're bringing. How visible is it? If Her Highness is interested in my project, I better know the impact and ROI of my project. And the last one, what's the extent of interest that the leaders have in my program? So these are the criteria that you would actually consider to decide if you want to measure a program at impact or ROI level. Why? Because you need to spend time, money, and resources to evaluate your programs. Otherwise, something quick, something cheap, you measure it at reaction, or you measure the learning people or application. We know our world is changing. My session wouldn't have been completed if I didn't take you through a change curve. When pandemic happened, we were all in denial. We wanted to stay in our status quo. We were shocked, we were fearful, we didn't know what's happening. What do you have to do as an organization? You need to communicate with people, you need to give them information. Because people are frustrated. They are fearful, they're disturbed. The way we were doing business was no longer the same. People were angry because they couldn't go back to the office, because they couldn't send their children to school. Watch them, listen to them, and support them. If you don't do that, depression will happen, both on individual level and also on organizational level. The quicker you do this, the quicker you get out of this. Experiment, identify, if I cannot go to the office, I can use Zoom, I can use GoToMeeting. So accept, give people time to decide and rebuild the business. Commit to the new norm. Celebrate, integrate that to the business. So this is the change curve that, as I said, both individually and on the organizational level, it will impact you. It's important to be aware of this. I'd like to introduce you to a Greek god that has got two heads. One head always looks at the opportunities. He's the positive man. The other head looks at risks. Everything is negative to him. So you actually need the two together. ROI could stand for return on investment. That's the positive. What about the risk of inaction? What if you don't do what you're supposed to do? What about Hajar if she didn't go and find that water? What would happen if she didn't have water? It would be in existence. So I'd like to encourage you and invite you to vote with a few questions that I'm going to pose to you. On the voting opportunities, if you agree with me, please show me the green or press yes. If you disagree, press the red button and say no. I'm happy if you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, agree or disagree. So agree? Let's go with that. Very simple. The first issue that I'd like to share with you is the fact that there is a misalignment between the finance department that is always very effective and efficient and they want to budget as early as possible, with the planning department. Our world has changed. That's why I showed you that curve. If you've planned for something in 2019, it's no longer applicable in 2020 or 2021. So make sure that you talk to your finance department. Tell them, I need more time. I need to know what I have to get rid of and what to add. So do you see this as an issue in the organization? If you agree, say yes. If you disagree, no. Thank you. The second issue that we know that our funding is continuously at risk. Oil prices is a third of what it was a year ago. Our federal revenue lives on oil. So we know that our sponsors have less money to give us. We know our stakeholders have got less money to give us. We're entering or have entered an economical downturn. We need to be aware of that. So when our funding is at risk, we need to be able to show our value. So do you see this as a problem that we're facing today? Are the fundings reducing? Say yes. If you think no, we have the same amount of money that we had last year and 20,000, say no. The other issue that we're facing is that if I go to your finance department and I ask them, how much did it cost you to build this beautiful building? They will tell you to the last dirham how much it cost, what's going to be the payback period, and what do they look at? Because that's what finance does. That's about 15% of investment, which is called capital investment that we do. However, what about the other 85%? That's a huge part. That's the money we spend on building our leaders for the future. That's the learning and development that is happening. That's the research and development that is happening. That's the money that we spend in building our nations, our communities. However, we don't measure them. So what happens? They come and cut them when we really need it. During downturn, what gets cut first? Training, followed by recruitment, followed by advertisement, because we cannot show our value. So do you agree with me that the intangible investments are needed where we really need them? You agree? Yes? Disagree? No. I thought you would. Thank you. Oh, are we measuring the right metrics? Are we measuring the right KPIs? Or are we telling them, all right, I'm in health promotion. I know how many brochures I've printed. I know how many hashtags I've done. I know how many people have come to the center. However, is that what Her Highness is interested in? I doubt it. She is interested in the impact. 96% of our leaders, of our CEOs, are interested in impact. However, only 8% of the time they get that information. 74% of the times they're interested to know what's the ROI of the initiatives that we do, but only 4% of the times they get it. Why? We are measuring the wrong KPIs. I'm not saying input is not needed. We need to have input data in order to be able to get to impact and ROI. However, let's move up and look at output. So do you agree with me that we're not measuring and reporting the right KPIs? I'm sorry, guys. I know you hate me at this point, but that's reality. So yes or no? Thumbs up or thumbs down? It hurts. Thank you. Next one, training. We spend a lot of time and money on training our future generations. We did a study with American Talent Development and ROI Institute, and we identified that about $1,300 is spent per person per year on their training. This is equivalent to about 34 hours per person per year. We did a benchmark. We asked people to identify how much of that was giving a positive impact and how much of it was wasted. Are you sitting? The results are appalling. 45% of that money and investment is wasted. Haram. What does that mean? That means nearly $600 per person per year is wasted. That's about 15 hours per person per year is wasted. We're actually conducting that business in the Middle East, and I bet you this 45% is even more, because a lot of us attend programs for the sake of attending them. Do you agree or not? This one, I can tell you the results even without you. Thank you. I knew you would agree. The other problem that we have, mashallah, as I said, you have a big organization, 33 agencies. So you need to get the buy-in from all of them to collaborate with each other. There could be a lack of knowledge between them. Maybe they need supervision. Maybe they need more communication. What about this one? Do you know what does this stand for? WIFM. What does WIFM mean? Not everybody share your passion. Not everybody share your compassion. They are doing a job. What's in it for me? If you're asking me to stay an hour extra, what's in it for me? Are you going to pay me more? Are you going to do something nice for me? So show me what's in it for me. Resistance to change. As humans, we are creatures of habit. We don't like to change. I'm happy if you change other people, don't ask me to change. But we know the only constant in the world is change. And there is lack of accountability. We need to be accountable for the things that we do or we don't. Do you agree with me? Yes? Disagree? No. Thank you. Strategy. When you talk about a strategy, people think it's a cloud in the skies, because a lot of times a strategy is formulated with a very few people in a room with closed doors, so it's a secret. But then we want the other people outside the room to go and implement and apply that strategy. So the job of this person was to draw that line on the road. His job was not to move debris and rubbish from the road. So why are you asking me to do more? This is not my job. Have you heard that before? Say yes or no. I've heard it a few times. I'd like to show you and admire and thank those people, those beautiful ladies who stayed with me for 5 days to do their ROI certification. Some of those ladies, they had sick children in the hospital. Some of them, they missed graduation ceremony because they said, next time Her Highness asks me, what's the impact and ROI of your initiative? I want to be able to answer that. It wasn't just the 5 days that they came. They also stayed with us throughout 6 months of coaching. That shows to you dedication. Those are the people whose strategy is their job. Please be some of those ladies. These opportunities are available. Use it. A lot of times, people don't realize that they're on the same boat. They're so happy, oh, that department's got a problem. I'm so happy I don't have a problem. We're on the same boat. If there is a hole, if COVID comes to the world, it doesn't matter if it's China or Turkey or Italy. We will catch it as well. We're on the same boat. So do you think you agree with me or disagree? Thank you. I love this one. We talk about compassion. What does compassion mean? Compassion means I move from my side to your side to see how the world looks like from your point of view. I cannot say I'm always right and you're always wrong. Is that something you believe in? Do you think sometimes we have an issue? It's my way or the highway? Thank you. Are you doing the right thing or are you doing things right? If I may give an example from Riyadh. Riyadh knows our world has changed. They need to do the right thing, go to their portfolio and say, these courses that we were doing in 2019 are no longer valid. We need to teach them on compassion, on ROI, on big data, because our world has changed. So this is doing the right thing. Then they will choose the right candidates, the right trainer, the right cost, the right place, the right way of delivering the program that's doing things right. You need a combination of both. Do you agree with me that sometimes we're busy doing things right rather than the right thing? Yes or no? Thank you. Because you're so special to us, we've put something special for you. I'm going to give you a revision of the things that we've talked. S, Start with why. Align your mission, what you're doing, with Her Highness's office mission. Know what you're doing. If what you're doing is not adding value, please, please, please stop it. Give your resources, your time, your money to somebody else who's adding value. It's a waste, haram. H, once you identify the why, you go and ask yourself how. How can I do it? What is the shortest way, the most economical way that I can do that? Find the right solution for your problems. If there is a will, there is a way. Don't tell me I cannot do it. If there is a will, there is a way. A for action. Harrak. Do the things that you require. Don't sit there and wait for somebody else to come and give it. If Hajar did not move, she would have died. There is a risk for non-action. I'd like you to change KSA to ask. KSA stands for knowledge, skills, attitude. I think attitude comes first. If you don't want to learn, no matter how wonderful Riyadh programs are, they cannot teach you. The British say you can take the horse to water, you cannot make it drink. So it has to come from within you. R, reality check. Find out where you are. What is your starting point? It would be very unrealistic for me that I've been reading and teaching ROI to come to you and say, go and measure your ROI. No, you need to start from the basics and move and build that ladder. Have smarter goals. Ooh, what is smarter goals? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound, and then evaluate and review them. How is your performance? How can you better that? And then stretch that goal. You can do more. You can do more with less. If there is a will, there is a way. J, join forces. MashaAllah, there are a lot of you. Please, please avoid overlaps, but collaborate with each other. Your mission is very important. Put that mission before self. Put away the individual agenda that we have. A for accountable. Be responsible for what you do, or God forbid you don't. Choose those right KPIs and measure yourself. Measure both action and non-action. H, humanity. You have an admirable mission. Please, please stick to that. The world is waiting for you. The community depends on you to give them hope. Sharjah. You cannot tell me that you're going to forget that word, huh? So we built it especially for you so that it will stay with you. You remember I asked you to lit a candle? I've got mine. There's so many of you. There's so much energy in the room, within you and within the groups who've listened to me together. Now, I'd like you to focus on the candles and try, and by giving it energy, to put the candles out. Focus on the candles. Put away your mobile phones. You have the intention, don't you? Now you have the knowledge. You do want to do good for the community. If you want to, you can do it. You have faith like Hajar. And you've all heard about these energies, intention, and beliefs, and faith is so, so important. Just focus on that flame and try and put it out. I know our time is limited, so I'm going to ask you to take action. Go and actually put the fire out. Because, like Hajar, if you did not take action, you would have died. You have the faith, you have the belief, you have the capability. They're investing a lot on you to train you. You need to move. You need to do things that are not necessarily you've done in the past. Today is different from before. Towards the end of my presentation, I would like to ask a few questions. If you agree with me, you can send me a thumbs up, but I want you to promise, I want you to pledge that you're going to take action. So are you going to look at the why of what you're doing? Are you going to choose the right solutions for your problems? Are you going to measure your actions and your inactions? Are you going to identify the training needs that you have and actually go and learn about them? Are you going to say, I am a big part of this organization. I need to do the best. I need to be the best of what I am. And you need to give your full. You need to be Anna. However, are you going to notice and say, it's not only me, it's not only my division, I'm on the boat with other divisions. I am a part of this bigger picture. I am Nahna. I want to be able to help the society, the community, because they are waiting, they're looking at your hand to help them. I'm honored to be part of this presentation. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm available for questions and answers, and your colleagues who've worked with us for the past year, they know that if they have any questions, you can either write an email to me or give me a call or invite us to your home and we'll come and see you. Shukran jazilan.